Highland Park, Utah is a little slice of sugar house that a lot of people love. Some of the clients that I've worked with in the past, they must be in Highland Park. There's just something about it. I think it's close to lots of things. You're kind of in that sugar house area, but it still has a neighborhood feel. You've got close proximity to urban amenities, but it provides an array of experiences suited to diverse tastes and lifestyles. And like every location, obviously, it's got its set of pros and cons, its benefits and drawbacks to living there. So let's talk about some of those pros and cons of living in Highland Park, using some of the current resources and data that I've been able to find online. So we'll use some data. This isn't my opinion. This is just kind of the data that I've been able to find online. So the first thing that is a pro to living in Highland Park is the quality of education. Highland Park is noted for its very strong emphasis on education. And according to Niche, a platform that ranks living places, schools in the Highland Park are often ranked highly within the state. And the access to top-rated public and private schools makes it an attractive location for families prioritizing education. The second thing that I found as a data point for why people love Highland Park is that it's got a serene living environment. And I think that's what I'm saying. It's like really close to Sugar House, but you have the ambiance of a park. You know, it feels, it's described as calm and picturesque. But you're still really close to Sugar House. All of the green spaces, the parks, and the shopping, and you just have a really rich, serene living environment. Number 3 is going to be close proximity to urban centers. You know, despite its tranquility, Highland Park is really close to Salt Lake City itself, which significantly amplifies its allure, but you're also like part of Sugar House, basically. And the city offers a plethora of cultural amenities, dining options, shopping centers, and the strategic location grants residents the ability to relish suburban calm without sacrificing that urban convenience. I really think that's the draw to Highland Park. And that is from the Great Salt Lake City Fact Guide. Number 4 is going to be the outdoor recreation. Highland Park really draws people who like to spend time outside. And you may have noticed on this channel, just about every single place in Utah boasts outside access. But it is situated near mountain ranges. It's a haven for year-round recreational activities like hiking, biking, snowboarding, and it's going to be that type of hiking, biking, and snowboarding that's maybe like more weekend warrior, where you can find trails and that sort of thing that's not going to necessarily require you to have the skill to survive in the wilderness if you got lost. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of a little bit more like it's not as deep into the wilderness as some of these other places. Like you might go up Cottonwood Canyon and find like really truly like outdoor stuff, whereas this is going to be a little bit more accessible. And notably, the Visit Utah website illustrates how recreational infrastructure can contribute to a balanced lifestyle through activities that positively impact mental and physical health. And that's going to be at visitutah.com. Number 4 or 5, I don't know. Number 5, strong community. The community-centric ethos within Highland Park promotes social cohesion, and it enhances the overall quality of life. Local community engagement through events, clubs, and gatherings fortifies neighborhood relationships. So the Highland Journal frequently offers it highlights community-driven events fostering solidarity. And that's the Highland Park Journal. So let's talk about some of the cons to living in Highland Park. The first con of living in Highland Park is the cost of living. Highland Park has a cost of living that is often substantially higher than other Utah towns. And the housing data by Zillow showcases that the property values are notably steeper due to the high demand for quality schooling and favorable suburban lifestyles. And that comes from Zillow.com, obviously. Consequently, the ensuing financial strain can be limiting for prospective home buyers or renters on a limited budget. So this next thing is going to be limited public transportation. Despite proximity to urban centers, public transportation receives criticism for its limitations concerning efficiency and routing, and the local transportation reviews on transit for Utah's database indicate shortcomings, making car dependency almost essential. And honestly, that's true in a lot of places in Salt Lake City, in the larger valley. That comes from transitutah.org. So this increases the overall living expenses and fosters socioeconomic gaps, because if you have to have a car, and sometimes that means both partners have to have a car, that can be extra cost and that sort of thing. The next thing is going to be decreased cultural and entertainment options. One potential downside is that compared to a vast urban center, Highland Park offers relatively fewer cultural and entertainment events. And I would say we're comparing Highland Park to like other real actual cities, Chicago, New York, things like that. But residents often venture to Salt Lake City for access to broader cultural happenings. So it's not like there's nothing available, but Highland Park, in its boundaries, strictly speaking, isn't known for its nightlife necessarily. The dilemma is reported by Cultural Utah, emphasizing the need for diversified macro-level cultural initiatives within suburban settings. And that comes from Cultural Utah magazine. Another downside to living in Highland Park is the weather extremes. Highland Park's semi-arid climate results in stark variations between the hot summers and the chilly winters. Those fluctuations might prove uncomfortable for individuals sensitive to the weather extremes, especially if they're moving to Highland Park from somewhere outside of Utah. That impacts lifestyle preferences over orderly climate requisites, I would say. But if you're moving to Highland Park within Utah, I'm sure that's no surprise to you. You know all about all of the environment in Salt Lake and the valley, the greater valley itself. And I wouldn't say that Highland Park is any different from most of the other spots in Utah. In fact, I would say it's maybe a little bit further up on the bench, so you probably get a little bit more snow, but there are definitely places where you're going to get more snow than Highland Park. The next thing is going to be less employment opportunities. Compared to larger metros, Highland Park offers limited direct employment opportunities. You're going to have to commute to Salt Lake City, and that's just really common. That Highland Park is a hard place to find work is bolstered by some of the research done by LinkedIn. Living in Highland Park, Utah, it's a place that individuals cherish for its peaceful neighborhood, rich with educational excellence, outdoor recreation, community solidarity. But there are some factors like high living costs, transportation inefficiency, limited economic opportunity, and a few other considerations like that you have to balance when moving to Highland Park, Utah. Evaluating each aspect through one's personal priorities is going to give you the best insight into whether you should move to Highland Park, Utah. But it is a great spot for anyone wanting to be near the outdoors, obviously. But you got to understand that transportation might be a little bit limited, and you're buying a house in Highland Park to live there and work and play in some other places too, which if you're in the valley, Salt Lake Valley, that's not crazy. That's kind of just part of living in Salt Lake. If you've been thinking about finding a home in Highland Park, I would love to help you do it. We'll have a great time, and thank you so much to everyone who's reached out in the past.